Dumber but Richer. Written and published by Rich Audiobooks. The greatest barrier between you and wealth isn't your intelligence. It's your tendency to overthink everything. While you're meticulously analyzing market conditions, evaluating risk factors, and crafting elaborate business plans, someone with half your IQ is already making money from a simple idea they launched last week. This isn't about celebrating ignorance or dismissing the value of intelligence. Rather, it's about recognizing that excessive analysis often serves as a sophisticated form of procrastination. The wealthy people you might consider dumber have an uncanny ability to see an opportunity and pounce on it, while you're still contemplating all the ways things could go wrong. Lesson 1. They take action without overthinking. Consider Mark, a high school dropout who started a local landscaping business with nothing but a used lawnmower and some flyers. While his more educated competitors were developing comprehensive business strategies and marketing plans, Mark was already knocking on doors and securing his first clients. Within 5 years, his company grew to $1 million operation. He didn't know about optimal market penetration strategies or sophisticated pricing models. He simply started cutting lawns and learned what worked through direct experience. The pattern repeats across industries and income levels. Sarah, a corporate executive with multiple degrees, spent months researching the perfect investment strategy for her savings. Meanwhile, her neighbor Tom, a mechanic, started buying rental properties as soon as he had enough for a down payment. He made mistakes along the way, but each property, even the problematic ones, taught him valuable lessons and contributed to his growing wealth. Smart people often fall into the trap of believing they need to understand everything before taking action. They create elaborate spreadsheets, read countless books, and attend numerous seminars, all while opportunities pass them by. This behavior isn't just cautious, it's often a manifestation of fear disguised as thoroughness. The reality is that most successful business models and investment strategies are relatively simple. The wealth-building process typically doesn't require complex algorithms or groundbreaking innovations. What it requires is consistent action, the willingness to learn from mistakes, and the ability to adjust course based on real-world feedback. This doesn't mean you should act recklessly or ignore due diligence entirely. Instead, adopt the ready, fire, aim approach that characterizes many successful entrepreneurs. Start with basic research, take action quickly, and then refine your approach based on actual results. Your intelligence becomes an asset when used to optimize and improve an existing operation, rather than a barrier that prevents you from starting. The next time you catch yourself in an analysis loop, ask yourself, what's the smallest action I can take right now to move forward? Maybe it's calling one potential client, making a small investment, or creating a basic prototype. Whatever it is, do it immediately. The momentum from that single action will teach you more than another week of research. Few people you consider dumber aren't really dumber. They're simply unburdened by the weight of excessive analysis. They make decisions with incomplete information because they understand that perfect information doesn't exist. They embrace the messy process of learning through action, and their wealth grows while others are still planning their perfect entry. Your intelligence is a gift, but like any tool, it needs to be used appropriately. Let it guide you, but don't let it paralyze you. The market doesn't reward those who understand it best. It rewards those who take action within it. The path to wealth begins with doing something, anything, that moves you closer to your financial goals. Lesson 2. They don't wait for perfect timing. The perfect moment is a myth that keeps intelligent people poor. While you're waiting for ideal market conditions, optimal circumstances, or that elusive feeling of complete readiness, someone dumber than you is already making money in the same opportunity you're analyzing. Consider Sarah, a brilliant market analyst who spent 3 years studying real estate trends, waiting for the perfect entry point to invest in rental properties. Meanwhile, Tom, a high school dropout, bought his first property with minimal research during what Sarah considered a suboptimal market. By the time Sarah felt ready to make her move, Tom had acquired 4 cash-flowing properties, built substantial equity, and learned invaluable practical lessons through hands-on experience. The wealthy understand a fundamental truth. Timing will never be perfect. Markets will always have uncertainty. There will always be potential downsides, risks, and reasons to wait. The difference is that financially successful people accept this reality and move forward anyway. They recognize that the cost of waiting often exceeds the cost of imperfect timing. What many intelligent people miss is that timing itself is often created, not found. When you take action, you set forces in motion that can create favorable circumstances. Your very involvement in a market or business can generate opportunities that wouldn't exist if you remained on the sidelines. This dynamic element of timing is something that can't be calculated or predicted from the outside. The wealth-building power of good enough timing becomes apparent when you examine successful entrepreneurs and investors. Warren Buffett made many of his most profitable investments during periods that other analysts considered terrible timing. Richard Branson launched Virgin Atlantic during a recession. Amazon started selling books online when most people thought the internet was a fad. Think about the compounding effect of time in wealth building. Every month you spend waiting for perfect conditions is a month of potential returns, learning experiences, and opportunity costs you'll never get back. The dumber approach of getting started with good enough timing allows for the magic of compound interest and market cycles to work in your favor over a longer period. This doesn't mean timing is completely irrelevant or that you should act recklessly. Instead, it means adopting a different perspective on timing altogether. Rather than trying to perfectly time the market, focus on how much time you're in the market. Rather than waiting for all conditions to be ideal, look for conditions that are sufficient to move forward while managing risk. A practical approach is to reverse engineer timing by starting with action and adjusting as you go. Instead of waiting to start a business until you have the perfect product, launch with a minimum viable offering and improve it based on real customer feedback. Rather than timing the bottom of the real estate market, start by finding deals that make financial sense today and build your portfolio progressively. The wealthy also understand that bad timing with good execution often beats perfect timing with poor execution. They focus their energy on elements within their control, their effort, their ability to adapt, and their persistence, rather than trying to control external timing factors that are ultimately unpredictable. The next time you catch yourself waiting for perfect timing, remember that somewhere out there, someone with less knowledge, fewer credentials, and more limited resources is already taking action and building wealth. They're not smarter than you, they simply understand that the best time to start building wealth is now, with whatever circumstances are present. The second best time is tomorrow, and every day of waiting is a day of opportunity lost. Lesson 3. They ask for what they want. The simplest path to getting what you want is often just asking for it. Yet this fundamental truth eludes many intelligent people who instead devise complex strategies, create elaborate plans, or wait for opportunities to materialize organically. Meanwhile, those who we might consider less sophisticated are out there making direct requests and, surprisingly often, getting exactly what they want. Consider Maria, a retail worker who became a regional manager within 2 years simply because she asked her district manager for the opportunity. She didn't have an MBA or years of management experience. She didn't create a detailed presentation about why she deserved the role. She just asked. Her district manager, who hadn't even considered her for the position, was impressed by her directness and gave her a chance. Maria's story isn't unique. It's a pattern repeated across countless success stories of people who achieve their goals through straightforward asking. The psychology behind asking is fascinating. Most people want to help others, and they want to say yes. It makes them feel good, important, and valued. When you make a clear request, you're actually doing someone a favor by giving them the opportunity to be helpful. Yet intelligent people often overcomplicate this dynamic, assuming there must be more to it, or that making direct requests somehow diminishes their sophistication. The wealthy understand that asking extends far beyond career advancement. They ask for better deals on purchases. They ask for introductions to influential people. They ask investors for money. They ask potential customers for business. While others are crafting the perfect email or waiting for the right moment, they're making requests and getting results. They recognize that each no brings them closer to a yes, and they don't take rejection personally. What's particularly interesting is how dumber people often ask without the self-consciousness that plagues their more intelligent counterparts. They don't worry about whether they've earned the right to ask. They don't obsess over the perfect phrasing. They don't create mental narratives about why they might be rejected. They simply identify what they want and ask for it. This straightforward approach, unburdened by overthinking, frequently yields better results than more calculated methods. The power of asking becomes even more apparent in negotiations. While educated professionals might research negotiation techniques and practice power poses, less academically inclined people often achieve better outcomes through simple, direct requests. They'll ask for a lower price, a higher salary, or better terms, not because they've studied negotiation theory, but because they understand that not asking guarantees not receiving. This principle extends into the realm of business and wealth creation. Successful entrepreneurs, regardless of their educational background, share one common trait. They're willing to ask for the sale. They ask customers to buy. They ask partners to commit. They ask partners to collaborate. While others are perfecting their pitch decks or analyzing market conditions, these people are generating revenue through direct requests. The wealth-building implications of mastering the art of asking are profound. Every major business deal, investment opportunity, or career advancement typically involves someone making a clear ask. The people who accumulate wealth fastest are often those who make the most asks, not those who make the most calculated ones. They understand that wealth creation is fundamentally a numbers game. The more you ask, the more you receive. The real secret isn't in how you ask, but in the fact that you ask at all. While intelligent people often get trapped in analysis paralysis, wondering about the perfect approach or timing, their less cerebral counterparts are out there making requests and building wealth, one ask at a time. They embody the simple truth that the person who asks for what they want is always more likely to get it than the person who doesn't. Lesson 4. They sell confidently, even without expertise. The most peculiar paradox I've observed in business is how often the most knowledgeable experts struggle to sell their services while someone with basic understanding consistently closes deals. This phenomenon isn't just coincidence, it's a pattern that reveals a fundamental truth about success. Conviction matters more than complete mastery. Consider Sarah, a brilliant software engineer who knew every programming language imaginable but couldn't land consulting clients. Meanwhile, Tom, who only knew basic WordPress development, was booking projects left and right at higher rates. The difference? Tom believed wholeheartedly in the value he provided and communicated that belief without hesitation. Sarah, despite her superior knowledge, constantly questioned whether she knew enough to justify her rates. This dynamic plays out across every industry. The most successful real estate agents aren't necessarily the ones who know every detail about construction or property law. They're the ones who confidently guide clients through the emotional journey of buying a home. The top-earning personal trainers aren't always the ones with the most certifications. They're the ones who convincingly communicate their ability to transform lives. The Dunning-Kruger effect, often viewed as a cognitive bias to be avoided, accidentally creates successful salespeople. Those who don't know enough to doubt themselves often perform better than those who understand the full complexity of their field. They operate with a simplicity and certainty that customers find compelling. While experts see nuance and exceptions, these confident sellers see solutions and possibilities. This isn't an endorsement of ignorance or dishonesty. Rather, it's an acknowledgement that customers buy based on trust and conviction more than technical expertise. They want to believe you can solve their problem. When you demonstrate unwavering confidence in your ability to deliver results, you make it easier for them to believe too. The wealthy understand that expertise grows through experience, but opportunity comes through confidence. They start selling before they feel fully qualified, knowing that each interaction builds both their skill and their client base. They focus on the value they can provide right now rather than waiting until they've mastered every aspect of their field. Take Marcus, a personal finance coach who built a 7-figure business despite having no formal financial education. His secret? He focused on the basics he knew well and delivered them with absolute conviction. While certified financial planners debated complex investment strategies, Marcus helped thousands of people get out of debt using simple, actionable advice. His confidence in his approach made his clients confident in their ability to develop this kind of authentic confidence without expertise. Start by deeply understanding the specific problem you solve and the value you create. Focus on results rather than credentials. Document your successes, even small ones, and let them fuel your conviction. Your role isn't to know everything, it's to help your customer achieve a specific outcome. The marketplace rewards those who step forward with confidence and offer solutions, even if imperfect. While the highly intelligent often wait in the wings until they feel fully prepared, the dumber but richer crowd is out there making sales, learning from experience, and building wealth. They understand that confidence isn't about knowing everything, It's about believing in the value you provide and communicating that belief to others. Lesson 5. They don't fear looking foolish. The smartest people often become their own worst enemies by trying to maintain an image of intelligence and competence at all times. While they're busy protecting their reputation and avoiding potential embarrassment, their supposedly dumber counterparts are out there stumbling their way to success and wealth. Consider Sarah, a brilliant software engineer who spent years perfecting her business plan, refusing to launch until everything was flawless. Meanwhile, Tom, who barely finished high school, started a simple dog walking service with a badly designed website and homemade flyers. He made countless mistakes, looked amateurish at times, and had clients occasionally laugh at his unpolished presentation. But within 2 years, Tom had expanded to multiple cities and sold his company for 7 figures, while Sarah's perfect business plan remained safely hidden in her drawer. The wealthy understand that looking foolish is simply part of the journey to success. They recognize that every successful person has a highlight reel of embarrassing moments, failed attempts, and public mistakes. Richard Branson launched numerous unsuccessful businesses before Virgin became a global empire. Elon Musk was widely mocked for his early rocket explosions at SpaceX. These billionaires didn't let the fear of looking foolish stop them from pursuing their goals. The truth is, most people are too preoccupied with their own lives to spend much time judging yours. When you make a mistake or look silly in public, it feels like a spotlight is shining on you, but this is just your ego playing tricks. The same people who might laugh at your mistake today will likely forget about it by tomorrow, but they'll remember and respect your resilience in continuing despite the setback. Intelligence can actually amplify the fear of looking foolish because smart people are more aware of potential pitfalls and criticism. They can imagine in vivid detail all the ways things might go wrong and all the people who might judge them. This heightened awareness often leads to paralysis, while their less analytical peers forge ahead, making mistakes but also making progress. The most successful people have learned to reframe embarrassment as a sign of growth. When they feel foolish, they interpret it as evidence that they're pushing beyond their comfort zone and attempting something new. They understand that comfort with embarrassment is a superpower in business and investing. It allows them to ask stupid questions that others are afraid to ask, make offers that might be rejected, and try new strategies that might not work. Wealth often flows to those willing to be the first to look foolish in a new market or with a new idea. The early investors in Bitcoin were mocked relentlessly. The first people to sell products on the internet were considered naive. The pioneers of any profitable trend usually face ridicule before they face rewards. By the time something is socially acceptable and safe to pursue, much of the profit potential has usually already been captured by those who weren't afraid to look foolish early on. Developing comfort with looking foolish requires practice. Start small by deliberately putting yourself in slightly uncomfortable situations. Share an imperfect idea in a meeting. Post about your business on social media before you feel ready. Make that sales call even though you might stumble over your words. Each time you survive looking foolish, you'll build emotional immunity to embarrassment. The wealthiest people have learned that the pain of regret is far worse than the pain of temporary embarrassment. They'd rather be red-faced for a moment than spend years wondering, what if? They understand that in the long run, the biggest risk isn't looking foolish. It's letting the fear of looking foolish keep you from the actions that create wealth. Lesson 6. They keep things simple. The most profound truth about wealth creation is often the most overlooked. Simplicity wins. While educated professionals design complex investment strategies and elaborate business plans, those who accumulate wealth frequently do so through remarkably straightforward approaches. They aren't burdened by the need to demonstrate their intelligence through complexity. They're focused solely on what works. Consider the story of John, a college dropout who built a multi-million-dollar lawn care business. While his competitors created intricate service packages and sophisticated pricing models, John offered just 3 services at 3 price points. His marketing consisted of a single message: we show up on time and do great work. This simplicity allowed him to scale rapidly while his supremators became tangled in their own complexity. The wealthy but less academically inclined often stumble upon a profound secret. Customers don't buy complexity, they buy solutions. A restaurant doesn't need a revolutionary concept or 100 menu items to succeed. Some of the most profitable restaurants serve a limited menu of well-executed dishes. Food trucks making only one type of sandwich have grown into million-dollar enterprises precisely because of their singular focus. This principle extends beyond business into investment strategies. Warren Buffett, despite his genius, is known for investing only in businesses he can understand in a single sentence. Meanwhile, sophisticated investors often lose money in complex derivative instruments and elaborate trading strategies. The dumb money that simply bought and held index funds has historically outperformed most clever trading schemes. The power of simplicity reveals itself in marketing as well. While intelligent marketers craft nuanced messages targeting multiple demographic segments, their less educated counterparts often succeed with direct, clear offers that anyone can understand. Buy one, get one free has probably generated more sales than all the subtle psychological marketing tactics combined. This simplicity advantage appears in personal finance too. Those who build wealth often follow basic rules: spend less than you earn, invest the difference, repeat. They don't need complex tax strategies or exotic investment vehicles. They automatically save a fixed percentage of their income and invest it in straightforward assets like real estate or index funds. Their less educated minds don't tempt them to optimize every financial decision, and this straightforward approach often serves them better than sophisticated planning. Even in product development, simplicity creates wealth. While brilliant engineers add features and capabilities, successful entrepreneurs often subtract them. They understand that customers will pay more for products that solve one problem exceptionally well than for products that solve many problems adequately. The most successful apps, tools, and services often do just one thing, but they do it perfectly. The wealthy but less educated also tend to communicate more simply. They don't use complex jargon or elaborate explanations. Their elevator pitches are clear and compelling. Their sales presentations focus on benefits rather than specifications. Their emails are short and action-oriented. This clarity helps them close deals while others are still crafting the perfect presentation. Consider your own approach to wealth creation. Are you making things more complicated than they need to be? Are you adding unnecessary steps, overthinking simple decisions, or creating complex solutions to straightforward problems? The path to wealth often lies not in adding complexity, but in stripping it away until only the essential elements remain. Smart people often resist simplicity because it feels too easy. Surely success must be more complicated than that. But the evidence suggests otherwise. The most successful business models, investment strategies, and wealth-building approaches are usually the simplest ones, executed consistently over time. Perhaps it's time to embrace the power of simplicity and let go of the notion that complexity equals value. Lesson 7. They follow proven systems. The wealthiest people often aren't creating revolutionary new approaches. They're simply following systems that already work. While highly intelligent people frequently seek to innovate and improve existing methods, their dumber counterparts are quietly building wealth by sticking to established blueprints. Consider the franchise model. Many successful franchise owners aren't inventing new business concepts or revolutionizing their industries. They're following detailed operating manuals, implementing prescribed marketing strategies, and executing proven business practices. They understand that the system itself is more valuable than any clever modifications they might devise. This principle extends beyond traditional business. Real estate investors who consistently build wealth typically follow straightforward formulas: buy properties in growing areas, maintain positive cash flow, and leverage equity for expansion. They don't waste time trying to outsmart the market or develop complex investment theories. Instead, they identify patterns that have worked for others and replicate them with disciplined consistency. Smart people often struggle with this concept because they're programmed to seek optimization and improvement. They see a system and immediately begin analyzing its flaws, looking for inefficiencies or trying to enhance its performance. While this analytical mindset can be valuable in many contexts, it can also prevent them from taking advantage of opportunities that are hiding in plain sight. The internet marketing world provides a perfect example. While intellectuals debate the ethics and intricacies of digital marketing, others simply copy successful sales funnels, email sequences, and advertising campaigns. They understand that innovation isn't necessary when imitation is profitable. These system followers often outperform their more analytical competitors because they spend their energy on execution rather than optimization. The same pattern appears in personal finance. Wealthy people often follow basic principles: live below their means, invest consistently in index funds, maintain multiple income streams, and protect their assets. There's nothing groundbreaking about these strategies, but they work. Meanwhile, highly educated investors might spend countless hours researching complex derivatives or analyzing market inefficiencies, missing out on the steady gains that come from following simple, time-tested approaches. The power of following systems extends to personal development and wealth mindset. Successful people often follow established morning routines, productivity systems, and goal-setting frameworks. They don't waste time creating the perfect personal system. They adopt what works for others and stick to it consistently. This willingness to follow rather than innovate allows them to focus their energy on wealth-building activities rather than system design. The most powerful aspect of system following is its scalability. When you follow a proven system, you can focus on expansion rather than experimentation. Many wealthy people build their fortunes by taking a working system and simply doing more of it, opening more locations, acquiring more properties, or scaling their marketing efforts. They understand that the fastest path to wealth often isn't creating something new, but rather implementing something proven at a larger scale. This approach requires something that many intelligent people struggle with: humility. It means accepting that you don't need to reinvent the wheel or prove your intellectual worth through innovation. It means being willing to follow instructions, stick to scripts, and execute predetermined steps, even when you think you know a better way. The wealthiest system followers understand that their ego is less important than their results. Smart people often praise innovation while looking down on imitation, but in the realm of wealth building, being an excellent copier often trumps being an original thinker. The next time you encounter a proven system for making money, resist the urge to improve it. Instead, ask yourself, what would happen if I simply followed this system exactly as designed? The answer might lead you to the wealth that has eluded your more innovative peers. Lesson 8. They focus on cash flow, not credentials. The world is full of highly credentialed people who are broke. You'll find PhDs driving for Uber, lawyers drowning in student debt, and medical professionals living paycheck to paycheck. Meanwhile, a high school dropout who started a pressure washing business is generating $30,000 0 cents monthly in pure profit. This isn't an anomaly. It's a pattern that plays out across the economic landscape. Dumber but richer people understand a fundamental truth that many intelligent people miss. The market doesn't pay for credentials, it pays for solutions. While smart people often spend years accumulating degrees, certifications, and qualifications, their financially savvier counterparts focus on one thing: generating positive cash flow. They ask simple questions like, what service can I provide that people will pay for today? And how can I turn this $100 0 cents into $200 0 cents? This cash flow focus creates a powerful feedback loop. While the credential seeker spends years in preparation mode, the cash flow foker gains real-world experience, builds a customer base, and accumulates capital that can be reinvested for growth. They learn through doing, adjust based on market feedback, and compound their knowledge through practical application rather than theoretical study. Consider the story of Sarah, a former academic who spent 8 years pursuing advanced degrees in psychology. Despite her impressive credentials, she struggled financially until she started a simple dog walking service. Within 6 months, she was earning more than she ever could have as a junior professional. The business wasn't intellectually challenging, but it solved a real problem for busy professionals and generated immediate cash flow. The cash flow mindset also leads to better decision-making. Instead of asking, what looks impressive or what will others respect, the focus becomes, what actually puts money in my pocket? This clarity cuts through the noise of societal expectations and academic achievements to focus on what truly builds wealth: positive cash flow. This principle extends beyond traditional business. Real estate investors who focus on cash flow rather than appreciation often build more sustainable wealth. Stock market investors who prioritize dividend income over speculative growth tend to sleep better at night. Even employees who focus on commission-based sales roles frequently out-earn their salary-focused peers with more impressive resumes. The beauty of the cash flow focus is its simplicity and measurability. There's no ambiguity about whether you're succeeding, either money is flowing in or it isn't. This concrete feedback allows for rapid learning and adjustment, creating a faster path to wealth than the traditional credential-based approach. None of this means education isn't valuable. But dumber but richer people understand that formal education is just one type of learning, and often not the most profitable one. They prioritize learning that directly impacts their ability to generate cash flow, sales skills, marketing knowledge, customer service expertise, and basic financial literacy. The next time you're tempted to add another credential to your resume, ask yourself, will this directly increase my cash flow? Could the time and money invested in this credential be better spent building a cash-flowing asset? Sometimes the answer will be yes. Certain credentials do lead to higher earning potential. But often you'll find that focusing directly on cash flow generation is the smarter path to wealth. The wealthy understand that cash flow is the lifeblood of financial success. While others collect gold stars and certificates, they collect cash-flowing assets and income streams. It's not about being the smartest person in the room, it's about being the one with the most money flowing into their bank account each month. Lesson 9. They ignore judgment from others. The wealthiest people you'll meet often have one thing in common. They've learned to operate under a constant stream of criticism, judgment, and skepticism from others. While intellectuals spend precious energy defending their choices and seeking validation, the financially successful simply press forward, letting the opinions of others bounce off them like rain on a weed. This immunity to judgment isn't a natural trait, it's developed through necessity. When someone starts a seemingly dumb business selling pet rocks or launches a social media channel about watching paint dry or buys real estate in an obviously terrible neighborhood, they face an onslaught of criticism. Friends and family members express concern. Colleagues snicker behind their backs. Internet commenters tear apart their ideas. Yet these supposedly foolish ventures sometimes transform into gold mines, precisely because their creators didn't let external judgment stop them. The mentally gifted often struggle with this concept because they've built their identity around being the smart one, the person who makes well-reasoned, defensible decisions. They want their choices to withstand peer review and stand up to intellectual scrutiny. But wealth creation rarely follows a path that looks intelligent from the outside. The most profitable opportunities often appear ridiculous until they're proven successful. Consider the early cryptocurrency investors who were mocked relentlessly for buying fake internet money, or the first YouTubers who were told to get a real job instead of filming themselves playing video games, or the entrepreneurs who started selling fidget spinners when they were considered a passing fad. These people didn't need to defend their choices or convince others they were smart. They simply recognized an opportunity and pursued it, regardless of how it looked to the watching world. The wealthy also understand that criticism often comes from those who haven't achieved what they're trying to achieve. They recognize that taking financial advice from broke people, business advice from lifelong employees, or investment advice from those who've never invested is a recipe for mediocrity. Instead of seeking approval from the masses, they seek results in the marketplace. This doesn't mean ignoring all feedback. It means being selective about whose opinions matter. A successful real estate investor cares what other successful real estate investors think. A thriving business owner values feedback from customers and mentors who've built similar businesses. But the opinions of random observers, no matter how intelligent they may be, carry little weight. The path to wealth requires making decisions that often appear foolish at first glance. It means buying assets that others are selling in panic, starting businesses in markets others think are saturated, or investing in trends others dismiss as fads. It means being willing to look stupid today for the chance to look brilliant tomorrow. The truly wealthy have learned to find comfort in being misunderstood. They understand that most great opportunities look like mistakes to the majority of people. That's precisely why these opportunities exist. If everyone could see the potential, the opportunity would already be gone. They've learned to trust their own judgment and let their results speak louder than any criticism. Your intelligence might be telling you to wait for universal approval before taking action. But wealth doesn't come from winning debates or proving your intellectual superiority. It comes from taking action on opportunities that others either don't see or are too afraid to pursue. The next time you find yourself seeking validation for a business idea or investment decision, ask yourself, are you trying to look smart or are you trying to get rich? Lesson 10. They repeat what works. Most intelligent people have an inherent drive to innovate, create, and discover new ways of doing things. While this impulse has led to remarkable breakthroughs in science, technology, and the arts, it can be a serious handicap when building wealth. The dumber but richer crowd has mastered a crucial principle that many smart people resist. They find what works and repeat it relentlessly. Consider Mark, a brilliant software engineer who constantly seeks new side projects and business ventures. He develops innovative solutions to complex problems, but abandons each successful project once it becomes boring or routine. Meanwhile, his neighbor Tom runs a simple lawn care business. Tom found a profitable service model years ago and has replicated it across multiple neighborhoods, building the same thing over and over. This pattern appears across industries and wealth-building strategies. Smart people often dismiss proven methods as too basic or uninteresting. They seek novel approaches, convinced that their superior intelligence will unlock a better way. But wealth rarely comes from reinventing the wheel. It comes from identifying profitable actions and systems, then executing them consistently over time. The wealthy understand that innovation is overrated in money-making. McDonald's didn't become a global empire by constantly changing its menu or business model. Instead, they perfected a simple system and replicated it thousands of times. Amazon didn't achieve dominance by abandoning e-commerce for new ventures. They doubled down on what worked and expanded methodically. Real estate investors who build substantial portfolios typically use the same acquisition strategy repeatedly. They find a specific type of property in a particular area, develop a system for identifying good deals, and then repeat the process. They don't switch strategies every few months or chase the latest real estate trends. They stick to their proven formula, even when it feels mundane. This principle extends to personal wealth building as well. Many high-income professionals discover a lucrative specialty or niche, but get restless and pivot to something new, sacrificing earned advantages and established income streams. Meanwhile, their less creative colleagues build wealth by deepening their expertise in one area and maximizing its returns year after year. The resistance to repetition often stems from ego and intellectual pride. Smart people can feel that repeating successful patterns is beneath them, or that it fails to utilize their full cognitive capabilities. They crave mental stimulation and novel challenges, mistakenly believing that wealth building must be intellectually engaging to be worthwhile. But the wealthiest people understand that making money doesn't need to be intellectually stimulating, it needs to be effective. They recognize that boredom is often a signal that a system is working smoothly, and that the urge to tinker or innovate can be destructive to wealth accumulation. They embrace the mundane aspects of their money-making activities, knowing that consistency trumps creativity in building long-term wealth. This doesn't mean never innovating or improving systems. Rather, it means making incremental improvements to proven methods instead of constantly seeking revolutionary changes. It means understanding that wealth often comes from doing simple things well rather than doing complex things differently. The dumber approach of sticking to what works may not win innovation awards or intellectual acclaim, but it consistently builds bank accounts and generates lasting wealth. The next time you feel the urge to abandon a profitable activity because it's become routine or unchallenging, remember that this impulse might be your intelligence working against your wealth. The path to riches often involves suppressing the desire for novelty and embracing the power of profitable repetition. Lesson 11. They don't try to be right, they try to be rich. The eternal struggle between being right and being rich plagues many intelligent people on their path to wealth. While the academically gifted often pride themselves on accuracy, precision, and being correct, the financially successful understand that pursuing rightness can be the enemy of building wealth. They recognize that the market doesn't care about who's right, it cares about who provides value and takes advantage of opportunities. Consider how many wealthy entrepreneurs launched products that experts said wouldn't work, or how many investors made fortunes by going against conventional wisdom. They weren't focused on proving their intellectual superiority, they were focused on results. This mindset shift from seeking validation through correctness to seeking validation through financial outcomes is crucial for building wealth. The market is often wrong, and that's exactly where opportunity lies. When everyone else is convinced they're right about something, contrarians who care more about profit than proving a point can capitalize on these misconceptions. Think about successful real estate investors who bought properties during the 2008 financial crisis, when everyone else invested what it would keep crashing, or early cryptocurrency adopters who invested when traditional financial experts proved it was worthless. This principle extends beyond investment decisions. In business, those who succeed fastest are often the ones willing to launch imperfect products and adjust based on market feedback, rather than spending years perfecting their offering. They understand that being roughly right and in the market is more profitable than being precisely right, but perpetually preparing. The wealthy also understand that admitting when they're wrong and changing course quickly is more valuable than defending an incorrect position. While intelligent people might invest significant emotional energy in defending their viewpoints, the financially successful are ready to abandon any position that isn't producing returns. They treat their decisions like business experiments rather than extensions of their identity. This approach requires a fundamental shift in how we view decision-making. Instead of asking, "Am I right about this?" the better question becomes, "Will this make me money?" This shift eliminates much of the emotional attachment to outcomes and creates clearer criteria for success. It's not about winning arguments. It's about winning in the marketplace. Consider how many academics can perfectly explain why a business shouldn't succeed, while entrepreneurs with less formal education build those exact businesses into empires. The academics might be right about all the challenges and potential failures, but the academics are the ones generating wealth. They're not concerned with being right about the difficulties. They're focused on finding ways around them. The financially successful also understand that there are multiple paths to wealth, and being right about which path is best matters far less than simply choosing a path and walking it consistently. While intelligent people might debate the optimal strategy, others are building wealth through methods that might not be perfect, but are perfectly adequate for creating financial success. This principle becomes particularly powerful when combined with the understanding that markets and opportunities are constantly changing. What's right today might be wrong tomorrow, but what makes money today might make even more money tomorrow if you're paying attention to results rather than trying to prove your initial assessment correct. The wealthy adapt their approach based on what's working, not what should work according to their analysis. The ultimate irony is that by focusing on being rich rather than being right, you often end up being right more often in the ways that matter. Your decisions become guided by practical outcomes rather than theoretical correctness, leading to a form of wisdom that produces real-world results rather than intellectual satisfaction. This is the kind of rightness that shows up in your bank account, not just in winning arguments. Lesson 12. They believe they deserve it, and that's enough. The most profound difference between the intellectually gifted who struggle financially and the seemingly less intelligent who accumulate wealth lies in one simple belief: deservingness. While smart people often tie their worth to their achievements, credentials, or intellectual capacity, those who acquire wealth more easily operate from a fundamental belief that prosperity is their natural state. This isn't about arrogance or entitlement. Rather, it's about an unshakable inner conviction that creating wealth is as natural as breathing. The dumber but richer don't waste mental energy questioning whether they deserve success. They simply assume they do and act accordingly. This certainty becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, driving them to take opportunities that more qualified people might hesitate to grasp. Consider how children approach life. They don't question whether they deserve love, attention, or good things. They simply reach for what they want with pure, unfiltered desire. This same quality often persists in those who accumulate wealth without the burden of overthinking. They maintain that childlike certainty that good things are meant for them, while many intelligent people have learned to question their worthiness through years of academic and professional competition. The wealth-building power of deservingness manifests in countless practical ways. Those who believe they deserve wealth negotiate more assertively, charge higher prices for their services, and invest with greater confidence. They don't feel the need to justify their success or apologize for their ambition. When opportunities arise, they don't waste time wondering if they're qualified. They simply step forward and claim what they believe is rightfully theirs. This mindset creates a powerful psychological advantage. While educated professionals often suffer from imposter syndrome, questioning whether they truly deserve their success, the dumber but richer crowd operates free from such self-doubt. They don't need external validation or multiple degrees to feel worthy of wealth. Their internal belief system provides all the permission they need to pursue and accept prosperity. Perhaps most importantly, this sense of deservingness acts as a protective shield against failure and setbacks. When things go wrong, They don't interpret it as evidence of their unworthiness. Instead, they view obstacles as temporary interruptions in their natural path to wealth. This resilience allows them to bounce back quickly and maintain momentum, while others might become paralyzed by self-doubt. The beauty of this principle lies in its simplicity and accessibility. Unlike complex financial strategies or advanced business theories, the belief in one's deservingness requires no special education or training. It's available to anyone willing to embrace it. In fact, those with less intellectual baggage often find it easier to adopt this mindset precisely because they haven't learned so many reasons to doubt themselves. Creating wealth ultimately has less to do with intelligence quotient and more to do with what might be called the deservingness quotient. Those who believe they deserve wealth tend to find it, while those who question their worthiness often struggle, regardless of their intellectual capabilities. The good news is that deservingness is a learned trait, one that can be cultivated through conscious choice and practice. Your intelligence is a tool, but your sense of deservingness is the permission slip that allows you to use that tool effectively. The most brilliant strategy in the world means nothing without the underlying belief that you deserve its rewards. The dumber but richer have mastered this fundamental truth. Wealth doesn't flow to those who can prove they deserve it. It flows to those who simply know they do.